Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to the Friendship Drive Beginner's Guide to Not Running Out of Fuel. Many Commanders run out of fuel at some point in their career, and it's certainly nothing to be ashamed of, but I'm here to help make sure it doesn't happen to you. Probably. In this video, we'll talk about fuel scoops and how to use them, how to find scoopable stars and modify your route to avoid stars that aren't scoopable, how to find stations to refuel at, and what to do if you run out of fuel altogether. First of all, let's talk about fuel scoops. A fuel scoop is an optional module that you can install on your ship. It automatically activates when within range of a scoopable star in Super Cruise and starts scooping fuel over time until your tank is full or you move out of range. Your ship does not have a fuel scoop by default, so you will need to find one and buy it. As with all modules, the number represents the size of the module and the letter its rating or effectiveness. You'll likely want an A-rated fuel scoop, assuming you can afford one, but any will do. An important thing to note about fuel scoops is that they have no mass, meaning there's no reason not to have the highest rated fuel scoop equipped. However, the biggest scoops do get quite expensive. On non-exploration ships, you'll obviously have to balance the size of your fuel scoop based on what slot you can afford to give up, so this will be something that you'll need to choose from build to build. To scoop fuel, make sure you're in Super Cruise and approach the star. Your fuel scoop will automatically engage and start scooping fuel when you're in range. You can either sit still or scoop on the move as you prepare to jump to your next system, but at least in the beginning you may find it easier to park yourself next to the star to scoop. Your scoop will have a maximum scooping rate depending on the module size and rating, so approach the star until you hit that rate and make sure to keep an eye on your heat. It's a good rule of thumb to avoid going over 100% heat as you start taking heat damage to your modules, and if you reach 150% heat, your ship will start taking continuous damage to its hull and death will surely follow. I personally try to stay below about 85% heat, as that gives me plenty of time to turn around and move away if things get a little too hot. Be careful not to get too close to the star, as this can cause you to drop out of Super Cruise, and getting back into Super Cruise again can be a spicy affair due to the proximity to the star and high temperature. You can use orbital lines to get an idea of how close you can afford to get to the star. If you do happen to crash into the star, try not to panic. Your FSD will be on cooldown and your ship heat will slowly drop. Once your FSD is ready to be charged again and your heat has stabilized, point yourself away from the star, throttle up and press your key binding to enter Super Cruise. At this point, you'll be given an escape vector, which you will need to align yourself with in order to get back into Super Cruise. To do this, use your compass on the left of the scanner to orient yourself and wait for your ship to jump into Super Cruise. Your heat will climb rapidly now, but as long as you can get away from the star quickly enough, you shouldn't be at risk of taking too much damage. When escaping from a star, there is a module called a heat sink launcher, which you can use to reduce your heat significantly while charging up your FSD. You can also choose to shut down any unessential modules in your right-hand interface panel, as all modules generate some amount of heat, however it shouldn't be necessary. Now for identifying scoopable stars. Only certain stars are scoopable, and there's a really easy way to identify them. The star types that are scoopable are O, B, A, F, G, K, and M type stars. You can remember this easily by remembering O be a fine guy, girl, or giraffe, kiss me. Alternatively, you could try remembering KGB foam, whichever works for you. In your galaxy map, you can go to the View tab, make sure you've selected Map at the top, and select Star Class from the drop-down. Here you can check only those star types we talked about just a second ago, and this will show those stars on your galaxy map so you can select one and jump there to scoop. Alternatively, you can select Apply to Route, and your route will now only include scoopable stars. This ensures you won't get stuck in a system without a scoopable star and none nearby. If you decide to run without a fuel scoop for some reason, or have found yourself without fuel or a fuel scoop and have somehow stumbled upon this video, you can use your galaxy map to locate nearby stations in order to refuel. Like before, you can click in the drop-down menu on your View tab and select Economy. Then, just select everything here except None. Now you'll see any systems nearby that have a station in them, and hopefully you have enough fuel to jump to a neighbouring system and dock up to refuel. Finally, if you ever find yourself completely out of fuel, without a fuel scoop, and unable to get to a nearby station, what do? You may have heard of the fuel rats, but who are they? Fuel rats are a bunch of wonderful players who will come and rescue you no matter how far into the black you are when you run out of fuel. Most importantly, don't panic. You'll want to navigate to the Fuel Rats website linked below and follow the instructions there. If you're running low on fuel and are in emergency oxygen supply already, it's a good idea to take a note of your location and any information that might help someone locate you and log out of the game. The Fuel Rats will guide you through the process though, and they're always really helpful. They'll not only help with fuel too, fuel rats are generally helpful and happy to point you in the right direction if you need any other kind of assistance. As a side note, don't be too embarrassed if you do run out of fuel. It happens to even the most experienced of pilots. The fuel rats don't judge, and who knows, maybe I'll be the pilot coming to rescue you one day. I hope these few tips about fuel and fuel scoops have been helpful. I try to always have at least a small fuel scoop on any ship I fly, just in case of emergencies, though my exploration ships always have the biggest they can fit, because I'm impatient. We'll be covering general flight tips, some basic advice on ship modules, and an overview of all the activities you can get up to in Elite very soon. If there's anything else you'd like tips or help on, please do let me know in the comments and I'll try to put something together. As always, fly safe and keep that friendship drive charging.